First Nation and Native American Reservation Sightings, Part 21. Prairie Island Reservation. Ray Owen, son of a Dakota spiritual leader from the Prairie Island Reservation in Minnesota, told a reporter from the Red Wing, Minnesota Republican Eagle, "They exist in another dimension from us, but can appear in this dimension whenever they have a reason to. See, it's like there are many levels, many dimensions. When our time in this one is finished, we move on to the next. But the big man can go between. The big man comes from God. He's our big brother, kind of looks out for us. 2 years ago, we were going downhill, really self-destructive. We needed a sign to put us back on track, and that's why the big man appeared." In a 1988 Minnesota News article headline, "Giant Footprints Signal a Time to See Change," Ralph Gray Wolf, a visiting Athabascan Indian from Alaska, told the reporter, "In our way of beliefs, they make appearances at troubled times to help troubled Indian communities get more in tune with Mother Earth. Bigfoot brings signs or messages that there is a need to change, a need to cleanse." The big man has appeared in many Indian communities: Standing Rock, North Dakota, Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and even Prairie Island, to name a few. For some Prairie Island residents, it is a time to look quietly inward and seek spiritual guidance. Scientists have tried to debunk the evidence of the big man's existence, Gray Wolf pointed out, but they have never been able to disprove it. We call him Sihatonka, Bigfoot, or simply the big man. Dog Ribs People, Northwest Territories, Canada. According to the Dog Ribs Aboriginal people living in the Ray Lakes settlement in the Northwest Territories, the far north has as its season a long period of darkness where the sun does not shine at all. The lack of sunlight creeps up on the Dog Ribs at the end of October, and it stays completely dark for 5 months until March. Winters can be intense and long, yet they have active Sasquatch-like people they call Bushmen all winter long, which begs the question, how do the Bushmen survive a winter in the Northwest Territories? A particular sighting of the Bushman is described in this manner. It was tall and hairy, running on its 2 hind legs. The hair was long and hung from its body in a wild manner. It was so fast that it was gone in a flash. The Dog Ribs say the beastly creature lurks in the bush, ready to abduct anyone traveling alone, and the poor victims abducted by the creature are never seen again. If they are usually found either mute or mentally deranged or both. After subscribing to the Bigfoot newsletter, a graduate of Aurora College in North Slave, Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, calling herself Talk, told me that the Bushmen were greatly feared. "Brave men," she said, "turn into jello when the Bushman makes an appearance. Everyone locks their doors." There were stories about women, in particular, who simply vanished from the rural areas of Yellowknife. The blame was put on the Bushmen who took them for wives. In recent years, the Bushman has been seen coming in closer than usual. Few men volunteered to track the Bushman. Tuck said the monster ranged upwards of 10 feet tall and was very powerful. The fear of the Bushman is so great that several men carry elephant guns. When I filed Tuck's report, I felt compelled to school myself on what an elephant gun was. The best description of a rifle that size was owned by the larger-than-life author Ernest Hemingway. It was a double-barrel, .577 caliber Nitro Express that was manufactured in 1913 expressly for Hemingway by Wesley Richards' arms firm in the UK. The gun weighed nearly 16 pounds and was meant to be used to drop a trophy bull elephant in charge, thus its name. Today, the lightweight 600 Overkill by Bijou Creek Gunsmithing was manufactured and meant to bring down a 2,000-pound wild Asian water buffalo. It weighs much less than Hemingway's rifle. Online YouTube videos show the buffalo rifle blowing a moon-sized hole in a 55-gallon drum barrel, surely a bigger entry wound than a .30-06, but I'm way out of my league talking about rifles. Even in modern times, the dog ribs take what they know about the Bushmen quite seriously. One story out of that region came from Spirit Wind, a resident of Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. He was told by a driver of an ice road delivery truck that his rig was chased for some distance by a dirty white bushman. They thought it was a hallucination or snow blindness that caused him to see a running figure alongside his truck in the side mirror. Parts of that story were published by Maclean's Online, a Canadian publication in March of 2003. Spirit Wind's third niece and tribal medicine woman believed that seeing a bushman in the darkness of the long winter causes the person to become mute. Ho Nation, Ho Olympic Peninsula Rainforest, Washington. Gene Sampson reported finding two sets of footprints measuring 14 inches long and another set measuring 17.5 inches long by 8 inches wide. The larger of the two tracks had a big toe measuring 3 inches wide. The big toe on the smaller imprint was 2 inches across. Sampson also found bark broken from trees 20 feet high. The Bureau of Indian Affairs investigated and they were skeptical. The late Dr. Grover S. Krantz said of the Ho tracks that he believed the evidence suggested one male and one female Sasquatch. The late Richard Greenwell, upon hearing the Ho evidence on July 1st, 2000, expressed in his delightful charismatic apathy a phrase often attributed to him. Evidence of such creatures remain inconclusive. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I absolutely believe in Bigfoot. After I evaluate all the data and read all the information, then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I think it's all nonsense. On Sundays, I rest. Too bad Krantz and Greenwell are no longer with us. I think both men would be astounded at recent revelations and research. Nez Perce Nation, La Pointe, Idaho. In August of 1992, Tess Green Sherman said she and 3 other people watched a Bigfoot move rapidly uphill through farm and Nez Perce grazing land. Sherman and her family were enjoying dinner in town when they noticed the Bigfoot. It was black and it was huge. It stopped and looked at us, Sherman said. Authorities from the Bureau of Indian Affairs investigated a string of Bigfoot sightings in and around La Pointe, but William Auberton, the supervisor of criminal investigations, drew a 0, trying to find any evidence after a team of BIA officers scoured the hills west of the town of La Pointe. Asked if it might be a hoax of some kind, Sherman replied, "No way. It was going up that hill much too fast. I couldn't walk up that hill as fast as it did." Sherman said she was skeptical after initial reports started coming in 3 weeks earlier, but after seeing the creature for herself, she became a believer. They're out there. Paiute Indian Reservation, Modoc County, Alturas, California. Kenneth Sam claimed he spotted a hairy, giant, man-like creature roaming outside a house he was guarding on the Paiute Indian Reservation. Sam's cousin, Neisha Comanche, said she found small footprints last week of what she believes is a young Bigfoot on the reservation near the California-Oregon border. Sam said the Bigfoot was 8 feet tall and was walking on 2 feet. He shined a flashlight on the creature from 40 yards away. At first it ran toward him and then fled. It was big, dark, and hairy looking, he said. It had silver eyes and it moves pretty fast. It's a lot bigger than a football player and it has quite a reach. It also seemed like it just glides. It seemed curious. I thought an antelope was fast, but this guy is pretty fast. While Sam did not believe the creature was dangerous, he lit fires outside the house for several nights. It seemed to be scared of fire. It doesn't come down when the fire is burning. Sam's cousin, Neisha Comanche, said she found clearly defined footprints of what she believes is a baby Bigfoot that walked through a mud puddle outside her home. The prints are almost human, but they're not because of the furry hair on their foot. California's Gabrielino Indians. Southern California Indians, known generally as the Gabrielino, Shoshonean linguistic stock, occupied lands and maintained fairly large settlements along the Santa Ana River from its headwaters in the mountains north of San Bernardino to the Pacific Ocean. According to records kept by Spanish priests in the 1770s and later verified by historians Reed and Harrington, an area east of Chino and along the Santa Ana River was known to the Indians as Rancho of the Devil. Apparently, a sizable stretch of the river between Riverside and Chino was the domain of Towis or Taquis, a giant, hairy, man-like beast. Though the exact location was unspecified in the record, a place on the south banks of the river was called Towis Puki, or Camp of the Devil. This devil was said to leave a stench and roam about at night. North of Chino, California, between the cities of Pomona, Laverne, and parts of Claremont, was a place called Toybipet, or Devil Woman, who was there. The Devil Woman was said to be very tall, with large feet and hands, long toenails and fingernails, and as fast as a deer. In the early 1900s, old Gabrielino Indians told Harrington that white hunters, very long ago, had trapped the Devil Woman, but later freed her. The capture ostensibly took place in the 1820s. Among the Gabrielinos of southern Riverside County, the giant Taquis lived in a cave on Lily Peak, west of Palm Springs. Nearby Taquitz Peak got its name from the Taquis. The southern version of Taquis was widely associated with bright flashes of light and flying balls of light. A major landmark, Mount San Jacinto, was also considered the home of Taquis. Slavey Indians. Partly Anishinaabe and part Athabascan, the Slavey Indians in the Yukon and parts of Alaska use the term Nagana to describe the hairy bush giants known to kidnap very young children from their homes and take them into the wilderness. To be continued, and thank you for listening. There will be many parts to the reading of this book. If you like this reading, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to be sure to catch the future parts. We welcome comments, but please be considerate of others. If you have had an experience with or about Bigfoot, cryptids, UFOs, paranormal, or any other strange happenings and would like to share them on our channel to be read, please email them to sharingofstrangestories@gmail.com. Our goal is to establish a channel that can provide an outlet for people to speak freely of their experiences without ridicule from others. There are many of us out there that have had these experiences and have felt that ridicule, but ridicule will not be welcome here. Emails will be read on our channel, so please keep them family friendly. If you want to remain anonymous and do not want your name read to the public, please put that at the beginning of the email or in the subject line. Thanks again for listening and stay safe.